Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have more gaming and PlayStation news, rumours and leaks to go over. If you enjoyed today's video, please show your support by hitting that like button. The Battlefield 6 trailer has just been revealed and it's got everyone talking. After months of testing through what they called Battlefield Labs, EA has finally revealed the first official trailer for Battlefield 6. Although they've been teasing fans for some time now, the trailer finally gives us a real look at the game's setting, story and tone. However, there's still one big piece missing, and that is the release date. EA hasn't officially confirmed when Battlefield 6 is launching, but there are strong hints that it's coming possibly October the 10th, 2025 if recent leaks are to be believed. The new trailer introduces us to a key player in the game's narrative, a private military group known as Pax Armata. This organization is apparently funded by ex-NATO countries and seems to be stirring up global tensions, which sets the stage for a modern-day conflict that spans the globe. It's the kind of high-stakes political backdrop that Battlefield fans will recognize with big cinematic warfare and global consequences. The great news is that the game brings back the single-player campaign, which many fans were hoping to see return. Alongside that, the signature large-scale multiplayer battles are also front and center. EA has confirmed that we'll get a full multiplayer reveal on July 31st, which could also be when they announce the open beta expected to start in early August. From a gameplay perspective, Battlefield 6 seems to stick closely to the core experience the series is known for, which is intense, fast-paced combat on massive maps. Whether you're bringing down buildings, jumping into tanks, or taking to the skies in fighter jets, the game wants you to feel like you're part of a full-scale war. But EA reminds us that no matter how many weapons or vehicles you have, your greatest strength is still your squad. Interestingly, Battlefield 6 is skipping the last generation consoles entirely. That means no PlayStation 4 or Xbox One versions. The game will only be available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Hopefully, by only focusing on current generation platforms, this will push Battlefield's graphics and performance even further. On the development side of things, Battlefield 6 is being handled by a group of studios working together under the name Battlefield Studios, and that includes DICE, Ripple Effect, Criterion Games and EA Motive. 2 editions of Battlefield 6 are reportedly planned. That is a standard release and a digital-only Phantom Edition. With the multiplayer showcase coming up and the beta likely to follow, fans won't have to wait too long before they get their hands on this game. Very excited for Battlefield 6. I have to say, guys, very excited. Of course, the trailer only shows us what the studios want us to see. What I really want is full gameplay, and hopefully we won't have to wait too long before we get to see the actual gameplay itself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about Battlefield 6 and let's move on. According to a recent report from the game business, more Xbox exclusive titles are expected to launch on PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch 2 in the near future. We've already seen this strategy in action. Games like Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Forza Horizon, Doom, and now we've also got Gears coming out soon. All which started out as Xbox exclusives have made their way to other platforms. In fact, Forza Horizon 5, originally released on the Xbox and PC, has already sold over 3 million copies on PlayStation 5 since it launched there in April 2025. Now, I don't agree with the next point made by gaming analyst Matt Piscatella, who pointed out that the days of people buying a console just for a couple of exclusive games are pretty much over. He goes on to say that most players choose a console based on where their friends play, what kind of online experience it offers, and how well it fits into their digital ecosystem, not necessarily because of exclusive titles. Now, I don't agree with that entirely. Yes, some of those points are valid. People want to play where their friends play, of course they do, but people want to see games like Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon, Ratchet, Astrobot, and I think people think to themselves, look, I want to play those games, plus I get to play Gears, Doom, Indiana Jones, and all of those Xbox games, which will eventually come to PlayStation. So the idea that gamers don't look at what games are on consoles is ridiculous. People look at what games are available on platforms, then they decide on other things like who else has got that platform, Can my mates play on there? What's online connectivity like? What games are available? But it's always about the games, fundamentally. They look to see which console is going to give them the best games, and right now, and for a very long time, that platform has been PlayStation. The next big Xbox franchise to go multi-platform is Gears of War, with Gears of War Reloaded confirmed to release on PlayStation this August, and that's just a beginning. Rumours are suggesting that other Xbox franchises like Starfield, South of Midnight, and even possibly Halo Combat Evolved could also be heading to rival platforms. The game business journalist Chris Ding noted that more announcements are expected in the coming weeks. This could happen during events like Gamescom, the Tokyo Game Show, and of course later in the year at the Game Awards. And while Microsoft hasn't officially announced anything for the Switch 2 just yet, many expect to see games like Doom: The Dark Ages and possibly Indiana Jones and the Great Circle coming to that platform as well. This new direction for Xbox isn't just about expanding to more platforms, it's also a way of reshaping how Microsoft approaches the gaming industry, especially as it tries to recoup the money it's invested in its gaming division. However, not everything has been smooth sailing. As we know, Microsoft recently laid off a number of employees and cancelled several major projects, including the reboots of Perfect Dark and Everworld, as well as shutting down developer The Initiative. Still, even with those setbacks, Microsoft seems to be committing to going full third party, delivering more games onto more platforms. Okay guys, let's move on. In recent years, we've slowly seen the cost of brand new AAA games rise. Microsoft, one of the biggest names in the gaming industry, was actually one of the first to publicly support this price increase from around $70 up to $80, £80. They had initially planned to raise the price of several of their upcoming releases, including Call of Duty, Black Ops 7, and The Outer Worlds 2, which is an RPG from Obsidian Entertainment, to $80, £80. The move mirrored Nintendo's strategy, which recently priced Mario Kart World at the same higher tier. However, after seeing some clear backlash and likely underwhelming pre-order numbers, Microsoft has decided to reverse course. In a recent statement, a company spokesman explained that they would reduce prices back to $69.99 for all of their upcoming holiday releases. That means The Outer Worlds 2 and of course Call of Duty Black Ops 7 will now launch at the more common $70, £70 price point. According to Microsoft, this change was made to better reflect current market conditions. In other words, the pre-order numbers were dreadful and people voted with their wallets. For gamers, this is a definite win, especially for those who were worried that 80 was going to be the new normal. But while Microsoft has backpedaled, Nintendo is still holding firm. Despite the high price, Mario Kart World sold extremely well and landed at number 3 in Circana's most recent sales chart, and that's not even counting digital downloads or Switch 2 bundles. Nintendo, known for the strength of its franchises like Mario and Zelda, often gets away with charging more simply because they can. It's a mix of the game's popularity, a trust in their titles, which some of their titles hold, but it's also the fact that you can't play the games anywhere else, and they hardly ever have discounts on their big titles. So if you want to play their games, you've got to pay the prices. Other major publishers seem to be staying cautious right now. Sony, for example, has priced their upcoming releases like Death Stranding 2 on the Beach and Ghosts of Yotai at $70. But like many companies, they're making up the differences with expensive digital deluxe editions and in-game purchases. Even Take-Two, which has often been part of the pricing controversies, is keeping things balanced right now. Borderlands 4 is $70, £70. However, The Mafia: The Old Country is launching at a much more affordable $50 in the US and around £40 to £45 in the UK, a price point that reflects the smaller scope of that game. The whole pricing discussion has reignited the debate in the gaming community. Are we okay with 80 becoming the new standard for games? Because for many, $70, £70 seems like a lot, especially when you add on downloadable content, expansions, or deluxe versions of these games. 70 seems about fair. So pushing it even higher without a clear improvement in value feels like a really hard sell. If there's ever a silver lining here, is that most publishers seem to be realizing that not every game can command top dollar prices unless there is an exceptional game out there. Gamers are simply not willing to pay a premium just because a company says the game is worth more. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this and let's move on. Cronos: The New Dawn is the next major project from Bloober Team, the developers behind Silent Hill 2 Remake. And while we don't have a specific release date just yet, Bloober has just confirmed that the game is scheduled to launch sometime in fall of 2025. To keep anticipation high, they've just released a 10-minute gameplay showcase, giving fans a much deeper look at what the game will feel like in action. The video follows the main character exploring a mysterious area known as Sector A0, using environmental puzzles and gravity-based mechanics to navigate and survive. The gameplay emphasizes slow, suspenseful movement through eerie corridors with the constant fear of something lurking around every corner. Weapons are ready, but in true horror fashion, it's clear that the game is more about tension and atmosphere than action-packed gameplay. When Cronos: The New Dawn was first revealed back in October 2024, it showed promise, but now with each new trailer and gameplay snippet, it's becoming clear that Bloober is aiming to deliver their most polished and terrifying game yet. This is a studio that has experience with horror titles, but it has had some difficult times too. After early success with Layers of Fear, Bloober hit a bit of a rough patch, releasing a few games that didn't quite live up to fan expectation. In fact, the developers themselves admitted that some of those projects fell short of their expectations, but the remake of Silent Hill 2 helped them regain their footing, both critically and with fans, and now they're using that momentum to push even further with Cronos. In terms of gameplay, Cronos: The New Dawn appears to be blending sci-fi themes with psychological horror, something not many developers are doing right now. From the gameplay, it's not just about jump scares, it's about slowly building dread and letting players feel trapped in an unsettling, unfamiliar world. The use of gravity manipulation adds a fresh gameplay mechanic, setting it apart from the more traditional horror experiences. Right now, the only thing missing is a confirmed release date, but with fall 2025 just around the corner, it's likely we'll hear more soon, possibly during an upcoming showcase or digital event. This game looks like my kind of game. Slow, intense, suspenseful, horror, brilliant. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments about the content discussed today, and I'll catch you on the next video.